Hi.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. Wait, that's it. So we are ready to begin. We have many interesting things to talk about today, so I don't want to take too long with this presentation. But if you've joined one of these chats before, you probably know that this is supposed to be a conversation. So what we want you to do is to participate, to share your comments, your opinions. You can also turn on your camera so we can see your faces. Keep in mind that we are recording and you will be able to access to this conversation a few days from today, because you will receive an email with a link for you to rewatch everything we talk about today. So there's no need for you to write down everything we are speaking about, to take down notes, because you will receive this entire conversation in your emails. Please feel free to participate, to share your opinions. But in case you want to remain anonymous, keep in mind that you can choose my name from the drop-down menu in the chat box, and you can ask a question and make a comment anonymously. So keep that in mind. Please remember to follow us on social media at PowerToFly. Sorry, I think I didn't introduce myself. My name is Melissa, as you can read here. I'm from Argentina. I'm based in Buenos Aires. And that's why I'm a bit confused, because today we had our first match at the World Cup. The results weren't the ones we were expecting. So maybe that's why I was a bit nervous. But that being said, let's introduce our speaker. I'm sure many of you already saw Maru in other conversations, but in case you haven't been to another chat and learn before, Maru is a psychologist with a master's in human resources, and she has been working in the talent acquisition and development field for more than 18 years. She's a strong supporter of women empowerment and human rights, and advocates for inclusion, equality, and belonging of diverse talent across the world. She's committed to making a social impact and building a more inclusive and loving world for everyone. As a certified career coach, Maru is passionate about meeting individuals and facilitate the development of their potential to help them find their purpose and advance in their careers. So, let me share with you our main takeaways for today. We've gathered all of your questions, the ones you submitted before this event, and we've gathered them in what we feel is like a nice flow to keep things conversational. But before going to the questions, I'm gonna give the mic to Maru, and she's gonna show us some things.
Okay, thank you, Meli. I'm Maru. Hi, everyone. Welcome today. We were chatting in Spanish before because I'm also based in Argentina. As you can see down there, my soccer shirt. Yeah, today we didn't win, but we're just getting started. Big soccer fans here. Apologies for others who are not, and I hope you're all cheering for your own countries out there. So thank you, Meli, for that introduction. The plan for today is to talk more about PowerToFly, our site, and how to build your profile in our platform, which, as you're going to see, is quite similar to other platforms like LinkedIn, for example, which is, I'm sure you all have a profile out there. So it's quite similar. So all the advice and the tips and tricks that I hope to be sharing with you today would be applicable to those other platforms as well. But we also want to encourage everyone to leverage everyone who has enrolled to this Chat and Learn or has attended other events with us, you already have a profile in PowerToFly. So we just want to make sure that you're all leveraging the platform and using it to your own advantage. You don't need to be looking for a job. You might just be hoping to network or registering to events or upskilling, learning, whatever you choose to do within our platform, which has a lot of options. Having a good, strong profile in there is definitely going to be helpful for you because it will present you to the audience, to others in a more professional way. Other people will know how, what, and when to engage with you. So definitely that is going to be one of our main takeaways, that you feel comfortable with showcasing more about who you are, what you've done, what you're hoping to do in PowerToFly, and then if you need to do it outside as well. So we're going to start. I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and we'll start this first part of our hourly meeting by walking through a bit of the steps on how to work on your profile in here. And will be, I mean, of course, if you have questions as I'm speaking, please feel free to share them on the chat or unmute yourselves. And we'll then leave the last part of the meeting to answer specific questions, addressing the ones that you left when you enrolled and any other new ones that will come up during the meeting as well, okay? So let's get started. First off, I am here in our powertofly.com link, so you all can go there. When you log in, I'm logged in with my personal email so that it doesn't get mixed up with my admin panel. And this is exactly the same as you would see if you logged in with your own emails. You would see your own dashboard, which is something pretty new we have. And we are actually, you're having here the firsthand announcement that we're working on improving this dashboard a lot more. So basically what you're going to see in this dashboard will be kind of a summary of all your activity within PowerToFly. So if you've enrolled to other events, if you've applied to jobs, depending on your role, it will recommend you some jobs, companies that you might want to follow, companies that you might already be following, upcoming chat and learn. So this will be, we're working on making this a lot better in terms of personalizing it to your own needs and interests. So feel free to navigate through that if you haven't yet. In the jobs section is where you will find all the jobs that are available, and you can apply to anything you need. Our search boxes here are pretty straightforward. You can choose by category, by keywords in the type of roles that you might want to have, by location, and even if you're just looking for remote jobs, we have a specific remote job board. So if you put remote as is, it will show you the thousands of jobs that we have remotely across the world. So this is just a extra tip on how to search for jobs in case that's what you're coming to PowerToFly for. You have a lot of options where you will be ready to apply by clicking on I'm interested. Before doing that, make sure that your profile is ready to go, because most of the times whenever you're able to click on, whenever you want to apply to a role and you click on I'm interested, the recruiter on the other side that will be receiving your application, although you will be able to upload your resume, the first thing they're going to be checking out is your profile in PowerToFly. So before diving into exploring opportunities and applying to roles, make sure that you've built a really strong PowerToFly profile within our platform. That
Maru,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I've been having trouble. I thought it was mine, but someone also wrote me privately. Is everyone seeing Maru's screen? Or does someone see a black screen? I know that a person and me see that black. Someone else says no. Oh, someone is. I am unable to see screen here. Can you share it again, Maru? Can we try again?
Sure. Thanks for letting me know.
Because some people can. Eddie also told me she could, but some others cannot. I don't know what's that about. Yeah, some people that now I can see it. Please let us know if you're seeing it. The rest, the people that I can see it now, says Monique. Thank you for letting us know. Nick, Nicole. Okay, I think we fix it.
Okay, perfect. Good. Yeah, please keep me posted or let me know if anything goes weird.
Maybe
My
if we can
connection.
rewind a bit, because
Yeah,
I
so
think
I've been here. I don't know if when did you, like, the dashboard was the other thing that I was showing before. Can you see it?
yeah, I can see everything. So can you please tell us when did you stop seeing? Because I don't think it was the same for everyone. So if people in the audience can let us know that.
The dashboard basically, so what I was saying, anyway, I think it's
Yes.
still applicable even if you don't see my
Okay.
screen, because you can
Yeah,
then all
perfect.
navigate to your own profiles and take a look at this. This is going to be available for everyone just by clicking on the first option up here that says dashboard. And this will be personalized to your own needs and interests. The more that you interact and engage within the platform and follow the companies that you like and start applying to jobs and participating and enrolling to events, then the more this will get personalized exactly to what you need. This is something new, and we're still working on this and improving it. So again, keep an eye for more improvements in here. Then I skipped the my profile section, which is where we're going to go now. And I was talking about the jobs functionality, which is basically where you can find jobs. And I wasn't you didn't miss much because I wasn't clicking on anything in particular, just showing that in the search box up here, you can search by the job title, the skill, or the company that you would like to review. And then you have a location box where you could choose, depending if you are looking for a job in a specific location, or if you're looking for remote jobs, just by clicking remote. And then the magnifying glass, then you would see all the options. We have thousands of jobs posted that are 100% remote, so you can explore that. And what I was saying is that in order to apply to a role, you would need to click where it says I'm interested. What I was going to say also is that depending on, so for some roles, you'll get to apply directly through our site. And for others, it will redirect you to the company's company page. So that would be the only difference that you might see. But in either cases, it will still show that you've applied through PowerToFly, and your profile within PowerToFly will be shared with the recruiter. So before starting to click on I'm interested and applying to roles, I really advise everyone to work on your profile first and make sure you have a strong profile complete with all the information that a recruiter would want to see, so that when the time comes for you to apply, it'll be complete and you'll have all the recruiter will get all the information that you want to share with them. In the event section, you would be able to see all of our upcoming and past events. Community section, I also invite you all to our community. If we have some time at the end, I'll navigate through our community space a little bit more, because that's something really cool, nice new feature that we've very recently launched and we're improving, which is basically a great place to network with other people and build a community. But we'll talk more about that. So without further ado, let's go to the My Profile section, which is what we're here for. If you go to the Edit Profile, that's where you would start working on your editing of polishing your profile. So I encourage everyone to put a picture in here of yourself, headshot, clear. Tips for headshots are try to be looking up front, a smile, you alone, no other people, no sunglasses, like really straightforward headshot. The most recent one you have the best, so that it's more realistic. But I think that helps people relate a bit more with who you are. Of course, it's not mandatory, but I like it when I see a picture there and put a face to a name. Then, of course, your name. And one of the most important things in a profile, for me, there are two very, very important sections in every profile for me, which one is the headline and the other one is the story. So the headline here at first, basically here, the headline means what's powerful about the headline is summarizing in a way who you are. This is the first presentation that you have when someone opens up your profile. The first thing they're going to see is that headline. So headline as in a newspaper. If you have an interesting headline, that is what will make the recruiter want to continue reading your profile. So make sure it's impactful, it's relevant, it really presents who you are. And that can be like, I put here HR at PowerToFly, which I put it just to say that I wouldn't recommend putting that, because people, so I'm HR at PowerToFly, but people will be able to see where I'm working at when they see my work history. The headline, try to make it more general. So for example, in this case, I would put like, I don't know.
I think we are having trouble here because I realized that we are all seeing the dashboard page, but you are on the profile page, right? You're supposed to be showing us the profile page, right? Yeah. Now I see it. Now I see the profile page. I don't know if the rest sees that. Please, now they see it. Yes, now they are seeing it. It just changed.
Okay, so that's weird. There's probably, depending on the computer or something, people are able to see it. Yeah. Okay.
Now everyone is able to see your profile. Before, I think we were all, or many of us were seeing the dashboard.
Okay, well, I won't go back everything again.
No, it's okay. I mean,
but I hope you all got what I was saying, which is still like headline is important. I was talking about the picture, which is up here. And so the headline, which I believe is one of the most important things in your profile, is basically what needs to summarize who you are, what are your biggest skills, and like what is the overarching description of who you are. So what I was showing is that I had here, it said HR at PowerToFly, which is what one of my jobs, what I'm doing here. Instead of that, instead of naming your company, because your company is not your identity, it just happens to be where you're working now, try to keep it broader, because people will be able to see the company you're working at the bottom anyways. So I would keep it to things that are a bit more generic in terms of like describing overall who you are and what you do and what are your strongest skills. Like if you are an expert in a specific industry, for example, then that could be something that you can put. If you're an expert on a specific tool or software or something that you know is being required or is relatable to the type of roles that you're going to be applying to in case you're looking for a job, then those are the keywords that you would want to put in here. Then at the bottom, you have here some options that can help you. So all of these fields will help. I mean, they might not be something that people are recruiters will specifically be looking into, but they will be like kind of those keywords that will appear or put you up on the top if someone is looking for those keywords when making a job search. I mean, searching for talent, I mean. So you can put here like the most generic of what you've done in terms of your seniority, experience level, and if you want to add anything in particular, you can use those. Where you're located, I also think it's important in case you are applying to jobs in specific locations. If you're going to be aiming 100% to remote jobs, you can leave that out, but also keep in mind that some remote jobs are remote only for certain areas or regions. So I recommend at least putting your country, at least a country. I think that will help other recruiters understand in what part of the world you're at and what the time zone that you're available. If you're available like 24 hours, you can then explain it down in your history, but adding a country also will help us to personalize more the content that we are going to be showing to you as well. So that's also something that I recommend. Also in time zone, you could leave this blank if you really would be open to any time zone. Like in my case, I'm open to America's time zone. And also if you're open to relocation, you can also click it here and that will show up in your profile. So as you can see, there's a lot of detail that you can put into. Nothing is mandatory, but of course, the more information that you are able to provide, the better. It will help most of all, like taking a step back to creating a profile, I would go to this would be a complete other session with you guys. But before getting in there, it's important that whenever you're starting to, if you're looking for a job and you're planning to update your resume or your profile here because you are aiming to apply to a job, I really recommend sitting a moment and thinking about exactly what is the type of job, what is it that you want to achieve, what are the roles that you want to get in terms of type of company, type of position, hours, days, time zone, all of that. The more clear you have that, the better you can tailor your resume to make it applicable to your needs, and make sure that you are showcasing what you want, what you need, what would be a fit. Trust me, it's very frustrating both for you and for recruiters reaching out to people and having to leave them out of their search because they are not in the right country or they are not in the right time zone. So also, and for you also, it's exhausting to apply for roles and then be left out just because you don't have a work permit, or it's in a different time zone that you're not able to accommodate. So the more clear you have your needs, the easiest is going to be to put those in paper and make sure they will match with whatever the recruiter is looking for. Then a few other things that are different to other job boards or other platforms is about sharing a main purpose of what is it that you want to accomplish with PowerToFly. This will help us, PowerToFly, share with you more personalized content. So if you're looking to find a job or grow your career or network or share knowledge, you could click on that one and it will help you. It will help the system know better what to offer to you so that it's more applicable to what your aims or goals are. Your identity data, this is also something that is it's not mandatory. I fear that if I change the page, do you still see my screen?
We do see it, and we see the identity data page. So I think we're okay.
Perfect. The important about thing is that agreeing to share your data will improve your experience. Of course, the more that you're willing to share with us in terms of your personal information, the more we can offer tailored to exactly who you are. So you can choose your country of residence, or if you want to see things that are outside of the country you're living in, that's also where you would be able to input that information. You can also pick to set your profile as a public or a private one. Of course, I recommend having it public because it means that anyone searching for talent will be able to see your details. If it's private, we would only be able to see very few details. I'm not even sure exactly how many small things we would be able to see. But again, having it public, even more if you are hoping to network or search for a job, I really recommend having it public. It doesn't mean that everyone in the world will be able to see it, only people within access to our platform, which basically are our own recruiters and our clients' recruiters. And that's it. Doesn't mean that it's going to be posted to the world out there. And also, if you are an active job seeker or not, this will also help you and help PowerToFly identify you as an active job seeker. If you put that you are an active job seeker, it means that you will be listed in our search engine as someone that, on top of our lists, and we will be able to match you better with jobs in case someone is searching for the skills that you have. So again, if you are actively searching for a job, I recommend putting it a yes in here. This is similar to what the open to work is in LinkedIn, which you might be more familiar with, very similar to that one. And the other very important part of the profile, as I was saying at the beginning, for me, there are the two major important things about a profile are the headline and your story section or about section, because here's where you get the chance to really tell your story, like exactly that, who you are, what got you to where you are today, what is it that you're searching, what are your passions, what is it that you're looking for. This is kind of a version of what in sales is typically called the elevator pitch, which you might have all heard at some point in in your careers, depending how old you are. But if you're old like me, you probably heard about elevator pitch a lot, which is basically how do you introduce yourself in a 2-minute elevator ride when you are in front of a CEO, for example, and you need to quickly introduce yourself and tell your story. So put thought into this. This can be a summary of, yeah, it's your story. Like what have you accomplished so far? What are the things that you're proud of? What have you done that you think identifies and tells people about who you are and what you care about? And you can be as specific as you want. This is pretty long. I think it's a 500 character that you have here. So I have 3 paragraphs and I still have room to add a bit more. And you can add whatever you want about your story, but it's telling your story. What have you accomplished, and also what is it that you hope to do? What is the impact that you hope to have in the world? That's also something that I recommend. Recruiters will be able to relate a lot more to you and your needs and your wants if you are clear upfront in here. It can tell a lot more than just looking at your experience. And this works perfect if you don't have a lot of experience, for example, if you're looking to pivot your career, if you're transitioning to a new industry, like all of those differences in stories, like all of that, this is the place where you can speak to that in your own words, and also do it in a first person. That also is something that I recommend doing. Then the contact information, of course, this is your contact details. It'll be available to the people that are, and again, manage who can see it. So you can show it to all companies, or you can keep it private. So that is up to you if you want to show it or not. If you keep it private and it's not open to all companies, you will be able to share it specifically with the company that you're applying for, because you can then add those details specifically for them if you prefer that it's not available for any company searching for talent. Now, if you're open to working with different companies and you prefer to be receiving opportunities instead of searching for them 100%, then I recommend having it public, because it will ease people to contact you better and more easily if you have this available. Also, if you have a website, if you are in design and you have a portfolio, things that you want to share with others, this is a good place also to do that in a very organized way. Same with your other social media. If you have any other profiles, Twitter handle, Facebook, whatever you're using, you can also add it here, and it will be available to whoever you choose that to be available to. Okay, and then here you can also add, in terms of portfolio, you can add projects. If you have links to specific projects, or if you want to upload things, you can do it from here as well. Add descriptions and just put your portfolio here, which for some roles is important. Uploading a resume, you can also upload your resume if you prefer that, which would be like a summarized version of these. So you can also upload it, and it will be available for recruiters when you apply to jobs through PowerToFly. In skills, you can choose your main skills. My recommendation here is choosing the strongest skills you have and the most popular ones and most relevant to the type of roles that you're applying to. So you don't need to put 1,000 different skills. Pick the ones that are more relevant to the roles that you are looking to. Okay, because those are the ones that the recruiters will be looking for. You can add additional experience. And then for the work experience section, this is, of course, where you will list all the roles that you've had and all the companies that you've worked with. Don't do what I did here, which is just listing them. My recommendation here is to, or don't do this, which is basically describing what the company is. If people want to know what a company does, they can go to Google and search it. My recommendation on how to showcase each of your work experiences is always adding first maybe a sentence that describes the overall overarching description of what you've done, like what has been your mission in that company, like you were responsible for, etc. If it's in a specific industry that you want to highlight, you can mention that. If it's a specific company that is maybe not that popular and you want to remain in that industry, describe what that company does. And then in terms of your own role, don't fall into the trap of feeling that you need to put an extensive job description of everything you've done, all the tasks that you've performed in each of the roles. Instead of that, just showcase the 2 or 3 major accomplishments that you've had in that role. Doing that is going to be a lot more impactful, a lot more relevant to the people that are looking at you and are deciding whether you would be a good fit or not for a specific position. So that would be my recommendation, how to showcase your experiences, all of your work experiences. With education, yes, you just will list what the university that you went to, the years of graduation, and if what you did has something specific, also please add it here. Have this one duplicated, I see, so you can go ahead and edit. I haven't added in here. For some reason, everything was duplicated in mine. And you can add whatever, like PowerToFly actually is super easy to navigate. Like you could certified coach, for example. Just to put I can't remember now the day. Oh, okay, years from 2017 to, for example. So of course, the more that you can write down about each of the educations and roles you've had, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to add information and just click and save. And then lastly, we're getting to our half hour of the meeting. Add your salary. So as you know, more and more, if you are in the US, most of all, a lot of new laws in different states are making salary a lot more transparent. So if you feel comfortable being transparent about your salary, I think it also can help recruiters find the good fit, what is a good fit for you. Most of all, if you're getting contacted by recruiters with roles that are really under or really off from your needs, this can help people know whether it's worth having a conversation and reaching out. Of course, as I always say, when you're talking about money, always better to first you do your own research to know exactly what are the ranges within your location and type of job and industry. And if you're applying in those locations and industries, make sure that you know what the market is paying, and then always speak to a range. It could be a wide range, but if you have very clear what is your bottom line, then make sure you put that in there. Like if you know for sure you wouldn't take anything, even if it's your dream job that is below X amount, make sure you put that, because it will really save you time and energy as well as the recruiters. Okay. And I think that was my quick search on the demo section. I hope it was clear and that now you have a lot of questions for me that you can start sharing. There's also one more thing here that is something new, and I haven't done it because I was waiting for this. You can also upload an image that would be a background picture in here. So I wanted to show that with you. In my opinion, the picture that you want to share up there should be something that tells a bit about who you are and what your interests are. Like in my case, I picked a picture, and if you can see that it changed with pride colors because I work with the DIB, and for me, I feel like a strong advocate for LGBTQ rights. So I feel like this speaks to me, and it's something that I feel identified with. So if that's the case, it can be anything that tells a bit more about who you are and helps others understand a bit more about who you are. So that's what I would do with a background image here. Okay. Now if I go to view my profile, this is how it looks for others. For some reason, it's not showing in my background. Okay, might take a bit to update. Meli, I feel I've been talking nonstop for 30 minutes. Are there any questions that anyone
Yes.
has or wants to address?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have the ones we received before the event, but while you were speaking, Shona asked us, she says, I am not comfortable sharing social media profile except LinkedIn. So is social media helpful?
Sorry. Of course,
Okay.
you never share anything that you don't feel comfortable with. Yeah, your profile is you. So you need to do what you feel comfortable with. Nothing is mandatory. What I'm sometimes sharing with people are my advice on what recruiters or companies would expect or would prefer to see. But it doesn't mean that a recruiter, for example, would disregard assessing a candidate because they don't have social media or salary or whatever. Like if you have those skills that they are looking for and you worked in the places that they are looking for or the industries, then that'll be enough ideally for someone to consider you. But of course, it makes it a lot easier for both parties. The more information you can share and the more a recruiter can know about you in advance, of course, that will save you both time. So that's why I encourage and I recommend adding as much information as you want, but it has to be things that you feel comfortable with. Social media, like I haven't shared my Facebook here because it doesn't have, it's totally unrelated. I don't use Facebook, but Instagram. I wouldn't share my Instagram because it's totally unrelated to my job. And I don't think anyone would decide to hire me or not, whether my kids are beautiful or not. I mean, that's all my Instagram are all just my baby's pictures. So I don't feel it adds anything to my professional background. So that's why I leave it out. But I do have a Twitter handle that I rarely use, and it's a bit more like I share news about work. So I thought that would be something I would want to share. I'm not, it might tell a little bit more about who I am, but not a lot either. So it's up to you, basically. Yeah, never share anything that you're not comfortable with.
Yes, and we should maybe keep in mind what we want to show to the recruiters. So maybe if we want to show the pictures we take, Instagram would be useful. But in case you don't, I think there's no need to. So while we wait for other questions from the audience, I'm going to share some of the ones we received before. The first one is, how do you think we can best showcase our strengths in our profile?
I saw that question before, and it's a very generic question. So I like if anyone who made that question wants to come out of mute or clarify what you mean by your strengths, because it can be like, again, if you mean with your skills, there are a lot of ways of showing your skills. Like definitely, I would say, again, putting your strongest assets in your headline and telling your story. I think those are the two most powerful places where you can address who you are and what you're good at and what is the biggest thing or skill or asset that you will be able to bring to the table. So again, if your strengths are something like a software that you're familiar with, that you're proficient in, or a language or a specific job title or something like that, that's easier and you can put it up here. If your skills or your strengths are your story, are like the history of what you've been through, then make sure that that story is well told in here in your story. Like you are showcasing and addressing everything that you know makes you different, stands you out of others. Many times the best assets that we have as individuals are the combination of skills and stuff that we've done in the past. So that should be the key of your story. Like, what is it that you've done in your life, in your career, that can be very different, but that tells a story that took you to where you are today and is getting you ready for that next step that you're looking for.
That's great. And you also gave us some hints on the next question, because it was actually, my experience is a bit all over the place. How can I best present it to create an attractive profile? So I think Maru already answered that one. I don't know if you want to add something on that, Maru, or we should go on.
No, I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but definitely when you feel like I would go back to something I said earlier. Have clear what is it that you are building this for? Who is it that you're expecting to attract the attention of? What is it that you hope to convey through your profile? And then use that as your end goal to go backwards and tell your story that will achieve that goal. So if you're looking to you don't need to tell everything you've done. Choose and pick the most relevant things that really tell your story and that make sense to other people, like would be understandable and would make sense to someone reading who you are and want to learn more about you, about your story.
Okay, that's great advice. But what if we don't have many things to pick from? Because the next question we have is, as college students with no work experience, how can we create a competitive profile?
Okay, good. First, of course, if you don't have work experience, you're not going to be competing with people that have a lot of experience. You probably will be targeting roles that are for other people that might not have a lot of experience. So never feel like you are and like the underdog, which sometimes I know it's easy for everyone and myself to get into. Like you always feel like you're going to be less than others. If you you still have your worth, you still have your value, even if you haven't worked before. I'm sure you've done a lot, like either you've studied or you have your interest, you have your passion, you have done something with your life so far, or you have big goals, you have big expectations about your life, you have a big interest in what you want to do, what is it that you want to accomplish. All of that can be part of your story. And again, with those cases in particular, even more than with others, those are the ones that should be putting a lot more effort into building your story, telling a bit about who you are. What is it that surrounded you? What have you done so far? If it was at school, or you were a scout, you did any volunteer job, anything you've done that you feel has carved you as a human being and has provided you skills that are getting you ready to go out there into the professional world and start working. That's what you want to mention. And you don't need to have an extensive history of jobs below, but telling the right story could be sometimes enough to have someone, a recruiter, read your profile and want to talk more with you about it.
Okay, so let me remind everyone that you can send your questions, comments for Maru, anything you've been thinking about. And while we wait for those questions and comments, the next one we have is, how do I create a professional profile highlighting the development of my skills while on a career break?
Sorry, can you go back? I was reading the chat.
Yes.
My bad.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. How do I create a professional profile highlighting the development of my skills while on a career break?
I think it's still the same as we were talking before.
Okay.
If you're in a career break, that's good. I think it's good taking breaks in your career, because that means that you're taking the time to hopefully think about what you've done so far, and what about what you've done so far is that you want to continue to do, and what is it that you're hoping to do next. So again, everything, all before getting your hands into creating your resume, creating your profile, leveraging, there's always a step back, a time to reflect, some insight where you need to sit down and think, okay, what is it that I've done before? Everything of what I've done before, what is it that I want to continue to do? Or with what I know, how can I apply it to something different? So the more clear you have that, then you can just tell your story. Again, it's putting that into word. Like, I'm sure that I always say this in my coaching sessions, like if you're talking to your friend and you're explaining to your friend why you now want to pursue a new career or something different, and you're explaining to that friend your story and what makes sense to you and why you would be a good fit for that role, then that's what you need to put. Of course, it's going to be different as what you're telling your friend, but those dots that you want to connect or help the recruiter understand about your background. Maybe you want to go back to something that you studied 10 years ago, but you never applied in your role, and now you decided that you want to pursue that. Then you would start there, your story. Like, I studied this because I was passionate about that. After doing this, and that, where I acquired this and those skills, I now want to combine that and put it into practice into this new field. So there's always transferable skills, as everyone calls them, things that you've done, even if it were in a different format or with a different name, but that can be transferred to something new. It's up to you, showing that you are able to do that. Yeah, that was my answer.
Okay, so someone shared their experience. It says, I tend to tailor my resume for every role I apply for. But with digital platforms, it isn't really possible. Does PowerToFly offer the possibility of sending a cover letter to the companies we are applying for?
Yes and yes. So tailoring your resume for every role you apply to, I applaud you. That's perfect. That's what everyone should do, even more if you have a lot of experience. Don't feel that you need to put everything you've done on the same document, but targeting what is most relevant about what you've done that will be relevant to the role that you're applying to. So that's perfect. I always encourage people to do that. So perfect. In terms of the cover letter, yes. Again, as I was saying at the beginning, when you apply through PowerToFly, you will see different types of applications. If the role that you're applying to is a role that our internal team is working on behalf of our client, yes, you would have the chance for sure to add a cover letter, definitely. If the role that is posted on PowerToFly is being managed 100% by the company that is looking for that person, it will redirect you to the company's career side, and you will be able to apply in the career side of that company. Mm-hmm. To be honest, most of ATSs, which are the systems, the softwares that companies use to manage applicants, they all have a chance to upload a resume and a cover letter. If it's not a cover letter and they are asking you to submit your resume via email, for example, then the body of the email would be your cover letter. So I would say yes, 95% of the times you will have the chance to address the hiring manager directly or the recruiter directly and tell your story to them.
So Maru, a question I have, maybe someone else shares it. Shares this doubt with me. Do you suggest we always write a cover letter, or sometimes with the resume is enough?
That's a good question, and it's actually something that, so as a career, I'm a career coach here, PowerToFly. You can book me for any sessions, and we do have a session that's specifically about cover letters, and it's also part of the bigger bundle. I remember when I started with this a couple of years ago, where I live in Argentina, it's not very popular to do cover letters as it is in the US. And I thought it was something that I never paid too much attention to as a recruiter. But then with time, I realized the power of a cover letter and how important it is, because it helps you tell your story. So it's kind of a version of what you have here in your story, of what you would have in your presentation. I mean, talking about yourself, but really, really, really tailored to that specific position and really saying why you're interested in that specific role. So yes, I do think that, I mean, it doesn't need to be never do extensive cover letters, but at least a paragraph that states how interested you are in that role and why that role really makes sense to you, like why that role is perfect for you. Then to do that, I do think it's a cover letter or an email or a note is important. It's not a list of all your accomplishments. It's not a list of all you've done in your career. It's a very specific note that will help the recruiter understand why you are applying to that role, why you are sure you are perfect fit for that position.
Thank you for that. It was really clarifying. Wait, we received a question from Shona. Why a cover letter is required by a recruiter if they have a resume? Is video link about, sorry, I'm a bit confused. Is video link about tell about yourself can be used? Sorry, Shona, I am not sure I'm getting the question. So if you can rephrase it. But I think they are asking, thank you, Shona. So while we wait for Shona's question, Anna asks, how deep do we have to go on telling our story in the cover letter? Should we try to explain everything or save some information to bring it up in the interview? Thank you, Anna, for your question.
Yeah, okay. So I will address both questions in the same answer because you're both asking about the cover letter and the importance of a cover letter. So the cover letter basically is, again, it's just a note that will explain why you're a good fit for that position. So you don't need to tell all your story. You don't need to repeat the things that are already in your resume. So it's not, a cover letter is not where you will say, well, I worked for 5 years here and 3 years there and 4 years there. It's just, you need to explain, like, overall, like, you have 17 years of experience working in recruiting, and that's why you would be a perfect fit. And you've worked in multinational companies and you've led international teams, and that's why you would be a perfect fit to what you read in the job description and what they are looking for. Like, yeah, I see that you're looking for someone that has a strong experience in leading global teams. That's exactly what I've been doing for 15 years. So that's why I'm applying to this role. And that's it. It's not a detail of everything you've done. You will definitely leave a lot of information for the interview. So you're not going to tell all the details in the cover letter. It's just, again, stating how you are a good fit for that position. You don't even need to get into, I see you're looking for someone with 10 years of that. I have 10 years. You're looking for someone with 2 years. Keep it more general. Like, go to the essence of what you understand they're looking for and the essence of what you've done that matches that information. And then all the details will be discussed in an interview. But you really need to be engaging. And also, one thing about cover letters that not a lot of people do is that don't be shy about saying how interested you are in that position. It doesn't, this might be something more Latin, but it doesn't throw you back saying how eager you are into, I mean, of course, keep it, I mean, you don't need to, don't stalk recruiters, but really show that you're really interested. You're not just applying to anything. You saw this role and it really called your name. You know, you would be perfect for that position, and just tell them why.
Okay, so thank you, Shona, for rewriting the question. It says, tell me about yourself. It's a common question. So if I send a video link telling about myself, can that be used instead of a cover letter?
Yes, if the company is doing that, I mean, just be careful with video links. I know if there are some applications that companies and some platforms that companies use where they ask you to do that. If they are asking you to do that or giving you the opportunity, it's because they are reviewing them. But if they're not telling you to do so, or they're not prompting you to add a video, I wouldn't replace it to other things because they might not even watch it. So that would be my only, like, real, blunt, transparent side B of what being a recruiter is. Like, if I am working in a place, in a company that has a system that helps me filter resumes by keywords, and you put a link in there, I might pass it along, not because I don't want to see it, but because it's not part of my work every day. Unless it's something that you're sending to that person because you've already been emailing with each other, and you tell her, hey, I wanted to share a bit more about who I am. I thought a video would be easier. It's only 2 minutes. And then you share that, then that will probably help the recruiter say, okay, yeah, let's see that. But also don't send a 5-minute video, because rarely, unless they're asking for it, it's very likely they're not going to see it, to be honest.
Okay, thank you, Shona, for your question. Sorry, Maru.
No. I was reading, and yeah, I'm happy. Like, you can ask me anything about, like, the side B of being a recruiter on the other side. There's no hidden things out here.
Okay, I have two questions related to that. I hope we get to do both of them. The first one is, what are some common mistakes you see candidates make on their PowerToFly platform?
Well, the biggest mistake I see is that rarely people write down something on their story, and I feel like I'm missing a part of understanding that person. Just by saying that you've been a controller at Amex, that doesn't tell me about who you are, and I cannot tell if you would be a good fit for the role I'm looking for just by the job title and the company you work with, unless I'm looking for exactly like a controller for MasterCard. Like, unless I'm looking for exactly the same role in the direct competitor where, well, yeah, I would make a big assumption that you would be a good fit. If I don't see anything else about who you are and what you can bring to the table, you're just one more applicant. So biggest miss I see people do is not talking about them, like not saying more about who you are. Like, so if you're not able to talk about yourself and about everything you've done so far and why you would be a good fit, then nobody's going to do that for you. And you might not even get the chance to talk to someone unless, again, you are a super expert on a very rare platform and I'm really looking for someone with that experience and I don't have a lot of options. So I might still call you, but otherwise there's a lot of fish out there. So make sure you stand out, like you show your uniqueness.
Okay, so we're reaching the end. And the last one is, when you are looking for top talent in the platform, what type of profiles catch your attention?
Well, depending on the role, but definitely the profiles that I read their stories and I feel like they really want the job, that they are interested, that they really have the skills, that they have it clear. I think it's also very attractive to see people that know what they want and know what they're out there for, and had that clarity in what they're searching for, where I can feel, okay, this person really wants this and really would be a fit here, and what their purpose in life is really matches what I'm looking for. Like if you say, I'm ready to go back to a full-time role and invest in myself doing this and that, like I would feel a lot more comfortable reaching out than someone that has always worked part-time, and maybe you are hoping to go back full-time, for example, but if you don't say it, my first assumption is going to be you might not be ready or even willing to work full-time. I'm just giving a very random example, but again, the more clear you know you have what you want, try to put it out there because it will really stand out and help the recruiter identify that you are really a good fit for what they're looking for.
Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you, Maru, for all this valuable, sorry, my English is not good, and it's less good today, but it was really valuable information. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for joining us. Hope to see you soon in another event. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Meli. It's been a pleasure. And if anyone needs more specific one-on-one help, feel free to book me on the coaching section in our platform. I'm happy to help you with anything you need. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.